Hi viewers, in this video we are going to discuss about how to get discharge from the hospital. My name is K. Priyadashini, working as a lecturer in College of Nursing. The objectives of this video. At the end of the section, the viewers are able to define discharge of the patient from the hospital. Enlist the preliminary assessment for discharge. Explain the discharge procedure. List down the various types of discharge. Enumerate the documentation procedure in discharge. First, we will see what is the definition for discharge. What is discharge? Discharge is the preparation of the patient to leave hospital and to return to own environment. The patient is prepared for discharge when he is admitted in the hospital itself. He would be prepared physically and mentally to leave the hospital or ward. Discharge planning is the plan evolved before the patient is transferred from one environment to another. This process involves the patient's family, friends, and the hospital and community healthcare team members also. The purposes of discharge: to ensure continuity of care to the patient after discharge, to assist the patient to complete hospital formalities before returning home, to assist the patient to return to a state of optimal independent living, to assist the patient in discharge process, to acknowledge the patient rights in deciding to leave hospital. These are all the various purposes of discharge. There are various types of discharge. Planned discharge: after the treatment getting over, the patient is planning for discharge. Transfer to other hospital: if facilities is not available, the patient is going for, or the healthcare team members referring the patient to other hospital. Left against medical advice, or LAMA, or absconding. This is another type of discharge. The patient left against the medical advice, left against the doctor's advice. Discharged against medical advice and death. These are all the various types of discharge. Patient absconded from hospital. In this case, patient went out of the hospital without doctors or other staff knowledge, and hospital does not aware about that patient left over the hospital. They found out during the next rounds. In this, the patient may not have discussed with the doctors at the hospital about is leaving from the hospital. Left against medical advice. In this, doctor asked the patient to stay or continue the treatment in the hospital, but the patient or the patient relatives, they did not inform their plan of leaving the hospital, but they left suddenly. But the hospital was aware of them going out, and at the time the patient left. The patient is not willing to stay in the hospital. In this case, the patients and relatives, they are not signing anything, and hospital may not give any discharge summary to the patient. Next type is DAMA, DAMA, discharged against medical advice. In this, doctors as clearly explaining the patient condition to the patient as well as the relatives that the patient, if you are taking out the patient, may endanger the patient life, but still the patient relatives wants to take the patient to some other hospital. They sign a declaration that saying that the risk were informed to them. By taking the patient out of the hospitals, they are immediately endangering the life of the patient. And in this case, the hospital gives discharge summary to the patient. The purposes of discharge: to ensure continuity of care to the patient after discharge, to assist the patient to complete hospital formalities before returning home, to assist the patient to return to a state of optimal independent living, to assist the patient in discharge process, to acknowledge the patient rights in deciding to leave hospital. These are all the various purposes of discharge. To gate, and one bill is ready and chart is received back in the ward, ensure that bill is settled or not, check the cashier's signature in the discharge bill, and help the patient to obtain discharge summary, medical certificate and drugs. Ensure that the patient is instructed regarding medication follow-up and outpatient visit, etc., accompanying the patient up to transport near the exit gate. Discharge procedure. Before the day of discharge, inform the patient and the family members about the time and date of discharge. It will be helpful for them to plan accordingly and obtain a written discharge order from the physician. If the patient requires home medical care, make arrangement for that. And on the day of discharge, review the patient discharge care plan with the patient and the family members so that they will aware about the instruction sheet, medicines, name of the medicines, dosage, prescribed time schedules, and adverse reaction for what they should report to the hospital. Again, that knowledge we should be instructed to the patient. Review the procedures that patient or his family will perform at home. If necessary, demonstrate those procedures to the patient and list the dietary and activity instructions if applicable on the patient instruction sheet, and review the reason for them also, and check the physician about the patient next office appointment, retrieve the patient valuables from the facility safe and review each item with him. Obtain from the pharmacy any drugs that the patient brought with them. If appropriate, take and record the patient vital signs on the discharge summary form. Collect the patient personal belongings from his room. After checking the room for misplaced belongings, help the patient into wheelchair and escort him to the exit. If the patient is leaving by ambulance, help him onto the litter. After the patient has left the area, strip the bed linens and notify the housekeeping staff that the room is ready for terminal cleaning. The very important step, that is documentation. What are the things we have to record while doing discharge procedures? Or record the time and date of discharge, the patient physical conditions, special dietary or activity instructions, the type and frequency of home care procedures, the patient drug regimen, the date of follow-up appointment, the mode of departure and name of the patient escort, the summary of patient hospitalization if necessary. After procedure. After discharge procedure, the nurse's role is record the time, date and condition of patient at departure and send the chart to the medical record department and inform to the concerned department like dietary department, physiotherapist, occupational therapies, etc. And after the patient has gone, the bed should be washed and blanket kept in sunlight, Macintosh washed and dried, the room cleaned and all the utensils cleaned and kept ready for next use. If in case of infected cases, the utensils and the things used by the patient should be disinfected and then cleaned. The linen should be disinfected and then sent to the laundry. When discharging the medical legal cases, the patient dead body should be handed over to the police, and before that concerning police station should be informed about the patient discharge and the death. Patient or dead body is handed over to the police and ask the police to sign with date and time. Medico-legal cases. Medico-legal cases is the one where, besides the medical treatment, investigation by the law enforcing agencies are essential to fix the responsibility regarding the present conditions of the patient. In this, both medical and legal implications are there. So, registering the medical legal cases, it's a responsibility of chief medical officer or a casualty medical officer. Is the one having the authority to decide whether they can discharge the patient from the hospital or not. Till now, we have discussed about what is discharge and what are the various types like planned discharge, LAMA, DAMA, referral, death, and what are the purposes of discharge, what are the preliminary assessment we have to do before doing a discharge procedure, what is the actual discharge procedure, what are the things we have to keep in our mind while doing discharge procedure, and after what is the nurse's responsibility after a discharge procedure, and for in case of medical legal cases what should be done. That and all we discussed about in this video about discharge of the patient from the hospital. Thank you so much, viewers. Bye bye.